Hey y'all, former plant killer here, Jessie with Living on a Prairie Flower Farm, and in today's video, I'm teaming up with the flower guy. Today, the flower guy and I are talking about the difference in growing for wholesale versus growing for the farmer's market. If you're new to my channel, my name is Jessie and well, I'm a former plant killer located in Zone 8B, North Louisiana, and I'm on a flower farm journey trying to turn my black thumb of death into a green thumb of life and help others along the way. I just finished my first year flower farming and it has been a blast. So I'm excited to continue year 2 with you as we meet other farmers, and I'm excited to be teaming up with Alex, aka the flower guy, on this project. I mostly grow for the farmer's market, and there's differences in the way that you're going to go if you're thinking about starting your own flower farm, depending on who you're planning on selling to. Some of those differences we'll talk today about, from variety to pest and disease control, and when and how to harvest these flowers. Depending on who you plan on selling your flowers to is going to kind of depend on how you grow them. I grow mostly for the farmer's market while Alex grows mostly for wholesalers. So I'm excited to be teaming up with him today to discuss these differences. And the first thing we're going to discuss is variety. Here on my farm, I really don't have to grow that many varieties, but let's face it, it's hard not to buy all the seeds and grow all the things, especially after my first year. But my customers would be happy with just sunflowers and fillers. They really would. They don't really care for everything else like I do. They enjoy it, but I don't have to grow that many varieties if I didn't really want to. So let's hop on over to Windy Brook Ridge, the flower guy's farm, so he can tell you more about his farm and what he thinks on growing different varieties for wholesalers.
Hey everyone, my name is Alex. I'm the flower guy located in a small town in Southwest Virginia. We're in Zone 7B, and my wife and I and our 2 children had made a decision about a year ago to leave a profitable business and to have a more sustainable lifestyle, to be more simple with the way that we want to live life, and that's why we decided to start flowers. We are currently selling wholesale, and we have started some farmers markets and some CSAs and just delivering array of bouquets to people or to offices. And that's, it's working out, but we are a 1-income household. And so I'm doing whatever it takes. And I know that it is possible to do a full-time flower farm in the first year and profit from it. And behind me here, I've got a row of zinnias. And just like Jessie was saying, you're filling a variety of flowers for your bouquets or the CSA, or in many cases just an overall bouquet for somebody who just wants to call or stop by. But here in this region, we are growing around 1,300 dahlias. We grow cafes and a lot of different decoratives, and we have the little ball dahlias that we're growing as well. But it's just showing you here that we are in a mountainous area. We're on the side of a hill here, and we did have sunflowers through here, and the bears have came through and stomped them all down. But we have another farm about 20 minutes away, and that's where most of the dahlias are. The biggest tip on having a variety of things is that the more you have, the more often and the more possibility you have to sell. So, that's another thing to look at, because look, If you're at a farmer's market, you're going to need different stuff. If you're at some sort of event, you're going to need that stuff. If you're selling to a wholesaler, they're going to want it. But that's what we're focusing on here. A variety, but of focal flowers. Not much filler going on here. And it's great, the area that I live in, because some of my videos, we go foraging on the sides of the road or in the mountains, because that's where we live. And we're finding goldenrod and ironweed and iliagnus and Queen's Anzalace and just a bunch of different things. Feverfew. I'm looking at things on the side of over here, but just a bunch of things on the side of the hill here, and we sell to the wholesalers and the retailers. And so we go foraging for our filler, and then we have our focal flowers that we focus on.
Man, his farm is beautiful. I'm very jealous right now because I don't have any flowers and he does. Another thing that we had talked about was pest and disease control. I used to spray neem oil and quickly stopped. And when I stopped, mainly because I was lazy, that's why I stopped, because I'm lazy. But when I stopped, I noticed there were more pollinators, more good bugs. So I started buying good bugs to battle the bad bugs. And that means I still get a lot of bug damage on my flowers, and I still deal with a little bit more disease, but I'm okay with that. The trade-off of not having to be out there constantly to spray, I'm good with that. My customers, they really don't mind a little bit of insect damage because they're buying the flowers at the farmer's market. Matter of fact, sometimes my flowers come with the insects. I have one lady and there was an inchworm on it. Told her, critters, they're included. Free of charge. Critters are just part of the charm, I guess. So I don't think that's the case though when you're dealing with florists. So let's hop back to Alex's farm and see how he deals with pests.
I'm glad you asked about pest control, because pest control around here is it's a hefty process, because we're spraying almost every 3 days. And if it's raining, you know, like a light mist, we're spraying again, because the pesticides that we're using is so weak, because we're organic here and we're using neem oil and we're using fish emulsion as more like a deterrent for deer. And then, you know, it's sort of like the deer fence, but if you just use fish emulsion, it's the cheaper way around that. And then we're using some natural systemics, and then we use methochlor, which is an herbicide that's natural for killing the grass around them. But this one is just a test run, it's a trial here. And at the farm is a little bit different, but you know, we're using a 4-gallon tank that is automatic. It has a little battery under it, and we just go through and spray these pretty much. And the wholesalers will complain at us if we have little bug bites. They will complain about the smallest little bug bite, so we're just trying to pull them out of there, sort of like quality assurance before we send them off. And they really do have a problem with that, and we just try to do the best we can. And they say that we have the best dahlias around in 2-hour circle. So if any of you guys are in the 2-hour circle from the Southwest Virginia, sorry to let you know we got the best dahlias. Just joking about that. But look at this one. See that? I mean, they're beautiful. And this was getting late, getting into the ground this year, and these all were by rooted cuttings. I didn't use not one tuber for this. I cloned every bit of this. Everything that you see on this hill basically was cloned.
Now, harvesting is completely different between farmers market and wholesalers. Here at the farm, a lot of my flowers I like to wait until they're about to be completely open, or they're already open, before I sell them to my customers. Even though things like gladiolas you should harvest and sell when they're still closed in bud stage, my customers won't buy those. They don't understand they'll open up and be beautiful once they get home after a few days. They see beauty, they want to see the beauty now. They don't want to wait. So a lot of my flowers that I harvest are already open in full bloom, which means they don't get the longest vase life out of them. But you know what? That means comes the next weekend, they've got to buy more flowers from me, so it works out great. But for a florist, it's a different story. Let's see, when would you have to harvest flowers if you're harvesting for a wholesaler?
The wholesalers that we sell to are very particular when it comes to the foliage, and also the bloom itself. Like this one right here, you can see that it's got pest damage. That one can't be used. And that's a bummer because each one of these are selling for $1 on the wholesale market. And I know you guys are probably getting a little bit more for them, but when you have a massive amount of them, they've got to go somewhere, and you can't be selling them for $2.50 to the wholesale market because they're not going to be making anything. Like this one. This would be good for some type of event maybe, because it's short, you can use it, but you can't sell that to a wholesaler. So the process with these is when I come through, I take a wagon with me and I have 5 to 6 buckets. And what I do with the buckets is I just fill them up with water, put some sodium chloride or something to keep the bacteria away, maybe some quick dip. And then I take each one of these and put them by color inside the bucket. And then I have to bunch them into 5s. I bunch them into 5s because that's the way they want to buy them. And for some cases, it doesn't smash up the head as much when you're trying to ship these things out 2 hours away when we go with them to travel. The other thing I'd like to mention is that we try to cut these and get them to the market as quick as possible so you can have the freshest flower, because imagine this, you know, in the wholesale market, they're coming from South America, Mexico, Israel, all these places around the world, Spain, Holland, and I'm just right down the road from where they're going to, 2 hours away, and they probably go in a 2-hour vicinity from that. And we try to get them as fresh as possible to them so they have the maximum amount of vase life. I was glad to team up with Jesse today because it gives you 2 different point of views. You can see this flower farm here, or you have Jesse's down south. You know, it gets you to the same ending result. And the thing about this is it's so versatile, and you can do it in anywhere in the world. It's just, all it takes is some good soil and a tuber or a seed, and you can get started with something that who knows where it will end up.
Thank you so much, Alex, for teaming up with me on this collaboration. It was so much fun. Be sure to go down in the description for a link to Alex's channel so that you can check out the Flower Guy. There's also a video beside me that you can check out that he did not too long ago that's really good. Or you can also check the playlist beside me if you'd like to see more advice on starting a flower farm. Thank y'all so much for watching this video, and I'll see you there. Bye.